help you understand the process better. So beyond this, there are some topics we'll be touching more in depth on, but if there's any question about this process, do bring it up later during the Q&A, okay? Thank you very much. Let's move on. So what do we look for? Let's go into eligibility first, okay? You are eligible if you have a bachelor's degree, 2 years or more of work experience, a competitive GMAT or GRE score. If English was not the medium of instruction used at your undergrad level or your master's level, we will need you to have a TOEFL or IELTS test score. Right? Academic capacity, leadership potential, ability to contribute, cultural adaptation. Again, what do they mean? What do we mean by these four categories, right? Let's have a closer examination at each one of them, shall we? So, academic capacity, so bachelor's degree, GPA. So, in the admissions office, do we look deeper into it? Yes, we do. Okay, yes, we do. That's the reason why we ask for your transcript. We need to look at your transcript. And yes, the grades do play a part. But then the question becomes, if I don't have a lot of A's and B's, do I still qualify? Of course you do. We'll talk about the compensating factors later on. Okay. So these are just allowing us to know how good you can be, how easy you can do with the studies during the MBA program. So a good GMAT score is always a good indicator of that. Knowing that most of the time working professionals will take a couple of months or so to prepare for the GMAT. And if they do so and they come up with a good GMAT, a good competitive GMAT score, of course, that will help a lot. So the next question would be, is there a preference between GMAT and GRE? I'd like to highlight in the admissions office, we do not prefer one over the other. All right, so we treat each of these tests with the same respect, all right, and the same weightage.
And maybe one thing that I'd like to add here, probably is a question that might come up later, is that what is really the significance of specialist scores? Because I think that's a question we get quite often. And really, for us, it's an indicator of your ability to handle the rigor of our program. Because as you know, it's a one-year program, it's intensive, it's rigorous. So this for us is an indicator. I mean, overall academic capacity, that's what we're talking about, but specifically with the test scores, that's what we're really trying to assess. And just a quick addition on the bachelor's degree, because I know we have applicants from across countries. We do take into consideration what your university sort of ranking is, what kind of rigor the university goes through. So it's not like we're looking at it in isolation. We understand that each country has various types of universities and the kind of ranking and grading system in each university differs. So we're very mindful of that when we're looking at these transfers.
Exactly. So yes, we are mindful, and some of you may then question, does the admissions office has the expertise of depth in understanding, discerning the difference between the different schools in the different countries? The answer to that is yes, because we've been doing this for many, many years, and we have collected a lot of data across the different universities in the different countries. Okay, on to the next part. So we recognize that most people who wants to get an MBA, they intend to be a leader eventually, right? So this is where we examine your leadership potential if you're not yet a leader. All right, so career progression is again an aspect we look closely at. Now, before I move on to the next point, I just want to add that if you have only 3 years work experience, you are not yet managing anyone. is that going to be a problem? The answer is no. All right. We do look at different parts of your career, but this is the tricky part. You've got to tell us what is it that in your current capacity it's different from when you started off your career. Okay, you've got to highlight that to us, because if you don't do it, we will never know.
Yeah, and like the impact you've created even in those 3 years, so the accomplishments you've had, the impact you've created in the same role, that also is an indicator.
Exactly. So then we have the ECAs. So in your current job, or even back in your university days, are you doing anything additional? Are you taking on a leadership position when you are carrying out these ECAs, these extracurricular activities? If you have, please highlight them and bring it up in your application. All right. The next point, ability to contribute. So have you demonstrated positive impact beyond yourself and your professional career? Again, if you have this, or I should put it across like, if you have not thought seriously about things, start doing that. Okay, start doing that. Ask yourself that question, beyond your professional career, what kind of positive impact have you created or affected in your community, among your friends, or even your family, your closest family members? If you have, please share this with us, because this tells us a lot about your ability to contribute. Okay, Brenda, do you have anything to add for this?
Not in particular, but I think even what you mentioned here about sort of going above and beyond, because somewhere that ties to me to leadership potential, that leadership is not really just leading a team or the title, but are you someone who has a strategic overview? Can you look above and beyond of what's just expected? So something of that.
The next part is cultural adaptability. So the ability and willingness to work effectively with different people around you. Now, bearing in mind, Nanyang Business School is in Singapore, okay, and Singapore is well known to be a cultural melting pot. We are very conscious and we are very sensitive to cultural differences, and we have this word respect, and we are always conscious about that.
But yeah, I completely agree, especially as an outsider, so to speak, that Singapore as well as Nanyang Business School truly believes in that cultural diversity and inclusiveness. I think that's so evident in our class as well, in terms of 90% international students. So I think we truly belong to this.
Yep, and I think this reflects very strongly in the number of nationality we get each year for our MBA program, and that's the reason why we could get easily 20-25 different nationalities coming together, working on projects. I think that's what we want to see, really. And for people who intend to build their career in Singapore after their MBA studies, I think this is a very, very big part of it. Okay. So this is what we call the holistic evaluation, right? The 4 key criteria. So in your application, remember, please show this to us, and this will definitely help you to stand out from the crowd. So let's move on to your admissions resume. Now, this is a very interesting thing. The recruitment team will always ask for your resume when you start talking to them. Likewise, when you start applying to the MBA program, we will also want your resume. Okay? So your CV, your resume is usually the first document read by us, by the interviewers, by the committee. So does it pass the 15-second test? And what do we mean by that 15-second test? We're going to show you someone's resume. So resume A. Brenda, what are your immediate thoughts when you see this CV?
too text heavy. All I can see is text staring at me, and yeah, it gets too much on too heavy on the eye. That's my instant response.
Yeah, that's very, very true. In fact, if you ask me, my immediate reaction would be, why am I looking at an experience that is so dated? And that's the first thing I'm looking at. Chronologically, I think it could be better placed. Gonna just quickly read out some of the comments that all of you participants have given us. The pictures so bad layout, so we have too much information to read, too lengthy, very vague. Spelling errors, yes, you picked that up in that 15 seconds. That's very sharp and not specific. And yes, I just want to highlight this comment. I think this really is to the point. You can't really judge it properly in that 15 seconds. And so what really happens after these 15 seconds when someone in the admissions office can't really judge it properly? That's when, now bearing in mind that we see many CVs, many resumes every day. So when this resume or this CV doesn't stand out, we lose interest on this CV. So does it put the person at a disadvantage? Definitely. Okay, definitely.
We're being as candid as we can get.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so think through the structure properly. Think through what you want us to immediately have our attention on.
And just like all the things we mentioned, right, in terms of highlighting that leadership potential, impact, all of those things, that holds true for every component of your applications, including your resume. So yeah, just keep that in mind as well. And I don't know if you're going to talk about this, but remember, your MBA application resume is not your job resume. So I don't know if you're going to mention this, but just wanted to say that. Yes,
it's not supposed to be one that you're sending to a potential employer. You should really frame it as an application to an MBA program. This is just a continuation of the CV, of the resume.
Oh, it's the same resume?
Yes, it's the same resume. So
there is your other issue.
Yeah, so you see the present experience is actually found in the later pages, and that's not a good thing.
It also is 4 pages.
Yes, I think it's too lengthy as a CV, as a resume. Okay, let's move on to the next resume, resume B. See what some of you may have typed in for us. Too much information to soak in at a glance. You are right. Should be a single page. You're right. Well structured but detailed. That's accurate, yes. Even wordier, but great career summary, still uncreative choice of fonts. Too cluttered. We completely agree with that.
I think we can get some of these people for our admissions team.
Yes.
They're doing such a great job.
Yes, you see, all of you are now becoming experts in reading CVs and resumes, right? So that's good. Now, I see. So for a resume like this, I think it's easy to criticize, but what is positive about this, Brenda? What do you think?
I kind of agree with some of the comments where I do think that the career summary may be not as detailed, but the fact that they've given that summary. So let's say in the event that someone from the admissions team doesn't have the time to go through, in the initial screening, I mean, go through your entire resume, at least they get a quick overview on your profile and your achievements. And similarly, here at least I'm assuming this is the most recent job. They've started with the most recent job. They have put in the quantifiable impact in terms of, as you go through the resume, there are numbers in there as $100 million deals. So definitely far better than the previous one.
Yeah, it seems to me that this person has a heavier responsibility. You could immediately see that he works for some of the most recognized brands, company, employer in the world, General Motors. And you could see that he has a career summary which somehow draws our attention towards, right? So you see, even in a very wordy CV, a wordy resume, some of these numbers stood out, and immediately we pay attention to those numbers. So again, if you could quantify those success, put them in your resume, this definitely helps. Okay, so this is the later part of the CV.
Yeah, you see the career progression that we mentioned earlier.
So a quick look at that. You could see how perhaps this could be a more effective resume versus the one we saw earlier. You saw how effective those CVs are. So a few quick pointers. Remember, keep it concise. 1 page is ideal. 2 pages if you really need to. Just remember, even if you are the CEO will give, with 20 years work experience, the CEO is likely to only give a 1-page resume, a 1-page CV. Okay, so keep it concise. A clean layout would be effective. It helps us to read it. It removes fatigue while we go through your resume. Quantify your impact. Like I mentioned, put in some numbers that highlight your achievements. That will help us a lot. Put professional experience over educational qualifications. So remember, even if you have graduated from Harvard or some of the top Ivy League university, that should be some of the first items in your CV, in your resume.
And just on this point, I'd like to mention that we want you to give us details on your undergraduate experience. Please do not write details on your high school experience or certifications from them. So again, just undergraduate degree.
That's exactly right. So avoid technical jargons. Remember, we are not hiring engineers or tech specialists. You could come across as the most technically sound person, but it wouldn't work on us. Okay, it wouldn't work on us. So try to put it in layman terms for us to understand. Include awards, interesting personal experiences, and volunteer activities if you can. Okay. So that's just some of the tips. And remember, yes, just keep revising it where possible. Okay, I did. Okay, it's never perfect. Remember, the resume, although you have seen it 1,000 times, it's never perfect.
So maybe always get someone else to have a quick look so that you make sure that grammatically sound, and sometimes, like you said, you keep looking at it, you'll still not spot, so fresh set of eyes always helps.
Yes. Okay. Let's move on. So just so you know, we have a resume book, and our careers office will get all of you to put in your resume in the standard format that we have, and it's a really effective format. Okay, I'm just going to let you have a sneak preview at that format. Only when you become an Nanyang MBA student will you get access to this format. All right. So just a quick sneak preview how it looks like. This is a really effective one, and it works for all these employers who are looking at our MBA talents today. Another part in the application is on essays and letter of recommendations. So we always get the question, so do people copy and paste? Yes, they do. We know they do because we check if they do. Okay, it's as simple as that. So don't do it, don't plagiarize. Okay, don't ever do it, because we do check on that. And when you're writing the essay, remember, make it original, and if possible, infuse your personality in those essays. It really helps us understand you better as a candidate for the MBA program. Now, for the letter of recommendation, we do have a very standard format. For those of you who have tried already submitting your application to us. Then the question would be, who should be your recommenders, right? Brinda, do you have any thoughts on this?
It's always good to have, if possible, your immediate supervisor, manager, boss, whatever's the word you like to use. And now we understand that sometimes you may have a slight hiccup talking to your manager because you don't want to tell him or her till you're sure of getting accepted into a program. So we do understand that. So in that case, you can pick somebody else, and I'll come to that in a minute. But ideally, why we're saying your immediate supervisor or anyone in that capacity is so that this is someone who knows you well, who knows your day-to-day work, and can really talk about specifics when the kind of questions we ask. So that could be one. But if not, I would say it could be a client, it could be a supplier, or it could be a cross-functional team head. So it's people who really know you well is what I would say.
And very importantly, someone who could vouch for your professional ability. Okay, that is very, very important. So remember, this is an MBA application. Try not to get a faculty who knows you 5 years ago in your university to be your recommender. It probably doesn't work for us. Okay, so remember, find someone who's recent, who knows you professionally. Okay, and that carries a lot of weight in your application. The interview tips, but just a quick look at how you can do it better. Prepare, practice, stick to the point, be concise when you're answering questions during an interview. Ask intelligent questions if you have to ask questions, if you're asked to ask questions.
So maybe I just want to add here that then by intelligent questions we mean do not ask us things which are on the website.
Yeah.
That is something you can figure out on your own from the website. This is your opportunity to ask us something which you want to know about an experience about the program, or just something, some burning question, maybe, I don't know, but nothing which is on the website.
Yes, nothing on the website, and try not to ask questions such as where the classes will be held, etc. Yeah, those questions are pretty. I mean, this is an opportunity for you to really know us, and for us to also get to know you better. So give us questions that sets us thinking. That will leave a good impression. I'm quite sure about that. Okay. All right. And very important, be punctual for the interview. Now, there are times when the interviewers will overrun for the interview, but that's usually, and that's almost most of the time, because of an earlier interview that took place. All right. But when that happens, of course, please just stay put. We will get to you really, really quickly. So when I say again, be punctual, I think if your interview is scheduled to take place at 6, be there at 5:45, 15 minutes earlier. And yes, we like to make sure that we take you through your interview in that 20 to 30 minutes.
Right, and I just really want to add here that when you're there at 5:45, wait for our team to reach out to you, because there have been some situations, I believe, where because the previous interview was going on and the next candidate's already online and they start pinging. Small thing, but it does cause a bit of disruption. So avoid such things.
Yeah. And if you are here for a face-to-face interview in Nanyang Business School, and if you're not familiar with Nanyang Business School, please bear in mind this is the biggest university, the biggest campus in Singapore. People can get lost around here.
I have got lost during my own interview.
Yes.
So yes, I agree.
Yes. People can get lost, and if you're unsure, always arrive earlier. Okay, half an hour is never too early for an interview. Okay. And yes, please dress appropriately. We like people to come, I'd say smart casual, smart formal, smart casual, but yeah, business casual. But if you're not sure, always stick to a jacket, put on the tie if you have to. For the males, for the females, I believe pretty similar except for the tie.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair.